Welcome to Wall Street Confidential. I'm Aaron Task here again with Jim Cramer. And Jim, a little weakness early today. We've gotten a rebound here. Do you think this is going to continue?
This is perfect. This is just what I've been calling for in real money. You needed the down opening to get rid of the last sellers. Texas Instruments gives you a real good umbrella to take tech up. This is going to last 3-4 days. The
Even
tech
though
rally.
They said the first quarter is not looking so good.
No,
it doesn't matter.
It was irrelevant. They could have said things are horrible. We just had to get it out of the way. The fact is that they did say that the end of the year could be good, which was enough to be able to get Merrill to upgrade. These are predictable rallies. When you have a very bad options hangover that finishes right near the end of the day, which is what happened, the market was able to rally, and you have a big bad event like Texas Instruments, you get it through, then you're going to have a several-day rally. Shorts definitely caught leaning the wrong way into this rally, both on the home builders and on the semis.
I'm going to get to the home builders in a second, but in terms of technology, you talk about Alcatel, Lucent, more bad news from them, but that's actually going to help the tech rally because it's good for Cisco.
Right. We don't care about Tel Labs. We don't care about Alcatel. We don't care about Nortel. These are companies that the media focuses on as if they're important, which always makes me laugh. Motorola is important only in terms of its breaking down, so that Cisco has more of a leg up.
Okay.
Cisco and Apple are the only two tech stocks right here that I'm not going to be cynical about and suggest that you just buy for to bash the shorts. I mean, those actually have long stories.
Right. You mentioned Apple. Again, news today, Steve Jobs being probed by the regulators about the backdating. You still think that is a non-issue?
That's a charade. They have to maintain the charade. There's been no official guy appointed internally to throw him under the bus, and the board stands behind him. But if you were the feds, you obviously have to do this because it's in the papers every day. So let's everybody go through the motions and have a good time.
Somebody asked me about this, so I'll put it to you. If you were some young, up-and-coming prosecutor, wouldn't you want to put Steve Jobs' notch on your belt like Elliot Spitzer did with Dick Grasso and others, or is he too big for the feds to go after?
I think that that office is notoriously weak. I don't think that anyone Elliot was the exception because he was a billionaire, so he didn't have to worry about the interests. Most U.S. attorneys have to worry about the interests, so it's usually a pretty honest group of people, but you probably don't want to go against a guy who could really, if you had a political career ahead, really hurt you in the fundraise.
Okay. Moving back to the market at hand today, you mentioned the housing market. D.R. Horton, down from a year ago, but better than expected. I want to ask you about the Goldman.
Well, it was the Goldman call. I mean,
right.
Goldman had a sell in the group, which was clearly wrong since September.
Okay.
So the guy had to find a time to be able to change his view. He's able to do it by saying, look, Lennar didn't go down on the bad quarter. Pulte didn't go down. Gets lucky on the D.R. Horton. But this is a group that the shorts are still fighting. Shorts aided by the media. And you can't stay shorted anymore just because the momentum of the buyers, not the momentum of the company. The company's awful. The momentum of the buyers is too great.
Right.
There's really no good news other than perhaps Rylan, which is a Washington, D.C. builder. But there's no real reason for the stocks to go up, which often is a great thing to buy because you have no real data points that are perceived as negative. One of the things that I think that people, and again in Wall Street Confidential, one of the things you have to recognize is that you have to understand the temper of the market. You have a negative, and the stock goes up. Well, you're home free.
Right.
You're home free. That's what happened to the airline stocks about 18 months ago.
Right, because the Goldman analyst, Chris Morris, I believe his name is, right. There's an inadequate risk reward to being short the home builders,
right.
which has been the case for 6 months.
I think that was a good recognition that the stocks don't trade with the fundamentals, and I think that's right. And the same reason that American Standard goes up every day. Masco goes up every day. I mean, these stocks, Black & Decker's probably a buy here. They've already pre-announced.
Right, interesting. Another call out today, I think you disagree with the Bear Stearns call on oil services, which are rallying again here today.
Well, what he's doing is he's deciding that Schlumberger doesn't know what it's talking about. Now, there are domestic drillers and there are international drillers. I don't want to be long any domestic driller because on the Schlumberger call, Canada's really bad. I mean, Canada's where all the weakness is. Not even the United States, it's Canada. And you want to, if you're levered to Canada, which is neighbors, which is a lot, or to domestic, like a Prideco, it's pretty obvious who's domestic. You don't want to be there. I'm focused on Schlumberger. I'm focused on Transocean, which is the cheapest in the group, Global Santa Fe, and I'm still betting that Halliburton makes a big international acquisition to save it.
Right. Now, is Canada bad because of the tax changes that
Which
are
one?
coming down the pike? Is Canada bad because they said the income trust may be taxable?
Yes, I think that's cut back spending. Also, it's natural gas. And natural gas is, even though the price of natural gas hasn't fallen at all, is not perceived to be where the growth is. You don't want to be levered to natural gas if you're drilling.
Okay. And
by the way, that's, again, the stocks. The companies themselves don't mind making good money in natural gas, but we care about the stocks on the show, and those stocks are bad.
Right. And in terms of caring about the stocks, I want to ask you about the State of the Union tonight. A lot of focus on the alternative energy plays. You were about Hoku Scientific this morning. You're bullish on that name, which is more than doubled in the last week. Is it not too late to get in there?
Well, it's obviously a trading vehicle. It's probably a huge short down the road, but the president has been predictable in his attempts to try to make it sound like he's doing something in this industry. I think he can bamboozle enough people, buyers, into coming and buying these stocks, but you're going to have to flip them between 9:30 and 9:40 tomorrow.
Right, he wrote that. Other than Hoku, forget it.
Hoku
sell the ethanol, sell the
I think Hoku's a really interesting short squeeze. And when you have a really interesting short squeeze like that, it can go on for some time. I mean, because the Sanyo contract's a real contract. I don't know what's gotten into that company. Right. But I think you have to look at these things as you have a very small float. You have 12 million shares being bought. You want to, if you were short it, you really have to cover because the pain's going to be immense.
It's going to be hard to find that stock, I would imagine.
Exactly.
Right. All right, Jim, thanks very much.
Thank you.
I'm Aaron Task. Stay tuned for more of TheStreet.com TV.